Hi, it's Bill Koenig for Straight Circle Martial Arts, and this is why people don't believe joint locks work. The majority of people who learn them wrong, and then they can't do them. And because they can't do them, no one else can do them. Just ask the internet, they'll tell you all about it. So, what you gotta understand is when people are watching joint lock videos, is generally they're doing drills, they're not doing a real fight. Well, no kidding, that doesn't work, it's a drill. When you first learn joint locks, you have to do programming. So if he grabs me, right, and we do this deal, and I go like this, or he grabs me here, and I slowly go like this, and we do these things over and over again just to learn them. People go, look at that, it's not real, he's not really attacking you, he's not knocking you down. I know, because if you learn joint locking like that, you would never learn it because you'd spend all day on the ground or get punched in the face. You have to go through the basics first to understand how they work. The problem with this though also is the way it's taught. Often people do these, but never try them in a more real application, and they can't really do them. So it's a little of both. Sometimes it's the person watching, and sometimes it's the person doing. When you're doing joint locks, when you feel comfortable with what they feel like, you have to take a number of progression steps to get to where you want to go. The next progression is you start doing joint locks in free flow with no resistance. Right? So I start going from one to the next, and I start just experiment to see how do I go from position to position with no thought, with no actual preconceived notion of what I want to do. What I'm trying to do here is I'm just studying his body and seeing how it moves. Right? And then I pay attention, and we just play around and toy, and then you're going to hear it. Well, that's not real. I know it's a drill. The next step of this is generally, again, slowly. It's a progression. People have to start grabbing you and pushing you a little bit, and you have to start trying to feel, how, as they're moving you, how do you start working with this stuff? You have to get a feel for where they position, where the stretch is, how you got a hold of their hands, how you move them, right? It's just playtime. But that's not real either, I'm aware of that. When you get into this, then you have to start experimenting with how do you set it up. Because here's the problem. Real fights are sloppy and often very tense. And most people just don't give you their arms and let you do joint locks on them because it's funny. People are going to be off balance, they're going to be very tight, they're going to be grabbing on you. And you don't always get the luxury of just grabbing and joint locking them. The other thing you have to understand with joint locks is sometimes you have to set them up. Sometimes you have to whack them to get what you want, right? You get them something in there, and now these things, if he's tight, good, boom. No, he's not tight. Now look, now it works, because I heard it. If you're really good and you understand they're tense, and you can feel how to work into their tension, that's good too, but that's a high level skill. So keep in mind with joint locking, one of the reasons it fails is because nobody adds hits to it. Sometimes you got to add things to it to make it work. If you don't add things, someone's swinging at you, it's awful hard to grab them sometimes. You watch a lot of joint locking demonstrations because the guy's way back like this, he's like this, and he comes at me with a very long, easy punch, stepping through, and it allows me to go into my nice joint lock. But some people fight tighter. Like they come in tight and their arms are inside, and you don't get that luxury of them stretching out. They're like this, they're throwing quicker shots. You're not going to grab that hand. When you get people like that quicker, you got to learn how to hit them and take their mind off it so you can hurt them. Down the road, once you get more comfortable with it, then you got to start putting it together under force. So your first attacker is compliant. But as you get better, your attacker should give you force. Your attacker should attack you. Your attacker should push you, throw you around. And as you're doing that, as he's grabbing me, I got to learn how to hit him and hurt him if he grabs me again. Right away, I'm hitting him. But look, here comes the joint lock because I've injured him. You have to start making it aggressive. But there's that fine line, right? If you're not with people that know how to do this, and you get really aggressive and you start cranking on this, you start hurting your partners. You have to come to that conclusion yourself. Where is the fine line between where I'm learning this with real pressure and real aggression, but I'm not so out of control that I'm ripping my partners to pieces? Joint locking is a long-term goal. It is one of them self-defenses that takes much longer to learn than striking. It's not that it can't work, it's just generally done wrong. The argument that people make that it doesn't work is often right for people who are trying to learn quick self-defense. People who are learning quick self-defense should not bother with joint locking, they don't have time.